And we are go. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all having a top Tuesday. I'm joined straight away by my gorgeous friend Rhea. And this was not premeditated or whatever the word is.
Don't you think? I think that I reckon everyone on the live is going to agree with me that you should have got changed because you've got a whole shop full of loveliness.
Well, I think you have got changed because I can't keep wearing all the stock because I wouldn't have anything to sell. Whereas I'm not at home and you are.
There is that, but I'm going to stick with my idea.
Well, we're both comfortable. We're both flying the flag for the ringside jumper today, which I love. And you look fabulous.
I love it. I really love it.
Hi, Alison. Hello. Has Rhea got a subject for you today? I feel like I'm just going to sit here going whoop, whoop, whoop as we just discuss being a brand ambassador and hard work.
All the things today. I feel like what was it called, like Room 101 when people got really ranty? Like, I'm not trying to do that today. And actually, to be honest, I would put serious money on that everybody watching here is going to agree.
How much we're going to wait? We've already got 50p wager. Let's do another 50p.
Yeah.
Go for it. What are we wagering on?
That everyone here is going to agree that basically it's the saying, isn't it? The harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah,
and regular followers of ours will know that we don't actually believe in good luck. Good luck to us is a direct result of hard work and doors opening and opportunities arriving rather than, Equiboodle certainly didn't fall into my lap. And Rhea Freeman PR certainly didn't fall into yours. So how did we get here? Hard work.
A lot of hard work. A lot of it. And I think that's the thing, that you look at people look at the result. And this is the same. I can't see everyone that's watching because sometimes it says Facebook user, which is really helpful. But I know we've got a lot of horse riders there. It's the same with horses. It's the same with business. If you want to achieve X with your horse, you've got to put in all the blood, sweat, and tears. I'm no longer a riding instructor, but you have amazing people on here like Abby and Georgie and Sarah and amazing riders who they are out there working their backsides off, getting the training, putting the work in, all of the things. And when they get the result, people go, "Oh, you did so well, aren't you lucky?" No.
Oh, no,
they're not.
No.
I mean, yeah, we have opportunities and we have kind of things that align, and I think sometimes we don't necessarily know where our hard work is going to exactly take us, but it's through that work that we get those opportunities. Because thinking about the kind of world that we're in with social media, the more that you work, the more potential reach you have. The more reach you have, the more you have potential to connect with other people, to find other opportunities. But if you don't put in the initial work, you're not going to get there. If you don't school your horse and take him out, cross-country schooling and show jumping and everything, realistically, you're never going to do that well eventing if you don't put in the work, because it's just not. The fitness isn't going to be there, and it's not luck when you win. It's because of all the work.
But did we think that people assume that it's good luck because that's their way of dealing with me having a successful business and you forging an amazing career out of what you do? Is that just the way that people say it when they go, "You're so lucky"? Or do they mean it supportively? But that's just when we tell people that they're so lucky, that is us actually supporting them and telling them that they're brilliant.
As you were saying that, I was thinking, out of my friends, when I've said, "Oh, X has happened," who said, "Aren't you lucky?" And out of my friends who know me, no one.
No.
They've always said, "You work really hard for that." They really do.
And I think those people that do work very hard for their own businesses, careers, riding, whatever it is that they do and they are successful in, will be the first people to say that. Now, I'm not knocking people that would come and say to me, because I get it every day. People tell me in the shop that I'm very lucky, and I smile sweetly and say thank you, because I am very lucky. I'm very lucky to be doing something that I love doing. I'm very lucky that it's successful. I'm very lucky that everybody loves the clothing line. I'm very lucky. But I've generated all of that luck through all of my own hard work and lots of lovely support. But yeah, I guess if that's what people want to tell me, that I'm lucky, then I'll smile and take it.
I do think, though, on the flip side, I think you can be unlucky, which I know sounds completely crazy, but things like, you know, a global pandemic. If you're working really, really hard and then a global pandemic happens and your business is really struggling, that's not because of you. That's because of something out of your control that came into your orbit that you had to deal with. Or when people get poorly, that's not because necessarily they did something wrong. I'm not a doctor, but you know, people can. Well, we all know people who've been poorly for no reason. They've done nothing wrong, and that's just awful and heartbreaking, and that would definitely fall in the unlucky area. But so I know it's kind of like arguing two sides. I suppose luck is the wrong word. It's I can't think of the word. You know what I mean, though, don't you?
Well, it's success. It's being amazing, or whatever it is that you're working hard at doing. But when you get asked, let's just take it a step back, because obviously your role to us is I don't know what to call you any longer, social media guru, network lady extraordinaire, agony aunt, mother, friend. I can keep going. But when people ask you, you know, how do I become a brand ambassador? I mean, it is probably very hard for you not to respond flippantly with a lot of hard work. You know, how do you react to people when they ask you things like that?
I think I don't mind people asking, but I think that at all. But what does grate my goat a little bit is that if someone's going, oh, well, I want what bothers me more is on accounts. I look after a few different accounts on social, but more I'm not as involved with them as I used to be, because I don't do a lot of social media management anymore. But we'd regularly get messages from people saying, I want to be a brand ambassador. I love your brand. And then I would look at their account and they'd have maybe 50 followers and they were wearing another brand. And I would just always used to think, why have you brought me this question? Because if you can't see step one, like when someone comes to me and they've got a good foundation, they're trying hard, they've got an engaged following, the content's good, they're putting out good photographs, they're using the brands that they like, then that's interesting. Then I'm like, well, actually, okay, we can work on this, because I can see that you've got all your ducks in a row and that you're trying really hard and you're setting yourself up for success because you put that work in. But when I'm looking at this, and the 50 followers things is a dramatic example. It doesn't actually matter on the number of followers at all, but I'm using 50 to demonstrate that you've got to do the blooming work. Because if you want a brand to give you stuff with the thing of your reach and your exposure and the size of your account and everything else that's going to help elevate their brand, there needs to be something in it for them. Like, why would they give you stuff? Why would they pay you money if you are a sponsored person? If your account is tiny, because and unengaged, an unengaged small following, because what are you bringing to the table? And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I don't care what size your account is. I follow small accounts that I love. I follow massive accounts that I love. But the reason when I do care is when people are asking for others to give them things in exchange for something, and I can't see where the value is. So, you know, you've got to put the work in. You've got to be posting consistently. You've got to be putting out good content. You've got to be engaging. You've got to be trying. You've got to be out there. Because if you're trying to get someone to essentially pay with product or money for you to do your thing, and you're not doing that thing, how can I advise someone that that's a good thing to do? That they're a good person to invest in?
Because I think a lot of us don't realise that, like, for example, for Equibeadle, for somebody to be a good brand ambassador, I need to have a working relationship with people that spans back months and years. I'm not going to give a product away to anybody that just messages me over social saying, hey, I love you. Hey, I've just stumbled across your brand. I love your products. Want to do a collab? No.
That's always good. I've just found you and you should give me things.
Yeah. No, I don't think I should. Thanks very much. And the problem is when you're so super busy, it's really hard to keep throwing out the responses of being polite and everything like this. When that person, you could pick up the phone and go, oh, hi, it's Equibeadle. And they'd be like, who? You know, they're just chancing their luck. They're not, this isn't going to be them getting anything through the result of hard work, is it?
No, but I'll tell you a bit of a hack for that, actually. You can do in Instagram, what is the term? It's not that. It basically, you type in a word when you set it up. It replies, that was it. And you then have that pre-prepared reply. It's probably saved me hours of my life, because you still want to be polite. These people could get to know your brand and they could be incredible. Yeah. But when you get as many requests as you do each day, that's actually quite a big drain on your time that takes you away from doing things that are likely to move the needle, or whatever term we want to use.
Yeah.
To push forward.
So what would be, do you have like any bullet points that you could give us for what would be the good foundation for working towards becoming a brand ambassador?
I will make some up now. There was actually a podcast about this. It's just a shameless.
That was my fishing hook that I was dangling.
I know, you've got to be more obvious. You know what I'm like. I'm like, well, I won't promote myself. I
tell you, Rhea, have you recorded a podcast recently for your?
I have done that. I actually did one on, it was last week. It's called the Brand Ambassador Checklist, and there's also a downloadable PDF checklist I did to go with it. If you find a typo in it, please tell me, but be kind, because I hate a typo. But I basically thought, right, what if I wrote it basically from a brand point of view, thinking of people like your good self who get approached by 1 million people, slight exaggeration, each day. And some of those people are absolute gems, and you want to know when a gem is looking at you. But when you get so many, it can be very difficult to find the gems because there's so much stuff to look at. So it was a list of things to look for. So look at their following, look at their engagement, look at whether they engage, look at the accounts that they're strong on, because you might have an amazing YouTube account, but you're rubbish on Instagram. That's okay. You don't have to be a rock star on all the platforms, because when you go and pitch to someone like Vic, you say, oh, I've got a growing Instagram account, but I've got however many thousand followers on YouTube. And Vic goes, well, I'm not that strong on YouTube. That could be really good for me. And you work together.
Yeah.
You know, or vice versa, or whatever, because we've all got areas that we're stronger on and we're weaker on, because just by the nature of what we do, and we find what works for us. But that doesn't mean that other areas can't have that value. So things like that, things like a genuine love for the brand, about whether or not you knew that they were working with anybody. Because this is actually quite a good one, because if you have someone who says, oh, I'd love to work with you, and you think, oh yeah, fair enough, and you look at their account and it says sponsored by X, Y, and Z, and you look at their content and you wouldn't know. Like, to me, that's a problem, because they've got this list of people that they're sponsored by, but how would I know that they were? Because if I am advising, I'm thinking now of my advisor role, if Vic said to me, oh, I'm looking at such and such, what do you think? And I look and it says I'm sponsored by, I can't think of any brands because I don't want to, AB Saddlery. I don't know if that's a thing. Probably is. This is just randomly. And I'm looking at their account going, I would not know that. I have not seen any product from that shop or any mentions of them, then you have to look at what value they're bringing to that the brand they're sponsored by. Because if you don't know as a consumer, as a follower, that they're connected to that brand, then you have to think about, well, what value am I going to get from it? So there was quite a few things there, like the quality of the content, about whether the views of the brand ambassador align with yours. And this isn't a criticism of a brand ambassador who doesn't have views that align with yours. One example I gave was it game shooting or was it drinking? I can't remember. But I was kind of thinking of like controversial subjects. So in our space, we have like game shooting, fur's a controversial one. Hunting can be controversial, and drinking to excess can be controversial. And the thing is that people can do whatever they like on their accounts. I don't care, in the nicest possible way. If you want to take a picture of yourself vomiting in a gutter because you've had too much, go for it. It's not my kind of thing, but you go for it. But when Vic says to me, what do you think of this account? And I think of Vic's kind of audience, her customers, that obviously she has quite a lot of younger customers. And I'm scrolling down and there's somebody who's being sick in a gutter. My warning light is, yeah, that's not going to work, because the alignment's not there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that person shouldn't do whatever the hell they like at all. But it means that for Vic's brand, it's not a good match. If you if your brand is anti-hunting and that person is really pro-hunting and puts a lot of hunting content on their social, good for them, but you're not going to align. So that was a big one for me as well. But that doesn't mean that a brand ambassador should be like vanilla on things, or an influencer, sorry, because you need to be able to putting out what is your thing to attract the right people. Because for what one person, what hunting is a cross, for another brand who is perhaps specializes in hunting kit, you'd be a massive tick.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about finding the right tribe, as much as, working for your brands, as much as anything else. And also, we can all spot a genuine review of a product a million miles away. And I would hate to think that I would ever start working with somebody that was just in it for the free stuff, basically. I would want people to truly love and adore wearing and using the Boodle products. So yeah, it's very important for me that somebody that we choose to work with is somebody that has invested in Equiboodle and consistently as well. That's another thing, isn't it? It's just about making sure you're a consistent person, because I've met some amazing people, and I'll look forward to seeing them again, but they're not necessarily consistent either. And I clock that. I do go, oh, I wonder where AB Saddlery has got, things like that. But we're all people, we're all busy people, and we're all having a weird time of it at the moment. So it could be that they've just had to go back to work. Who knows? But I don't know, because they were there one minute and gone the next. So for me, yeah, definitely would want to make sure that I support those who support me.
Yeah, because again, you build more of a community then as well, don't you? A community or a tribe is about that mutual support. It is about it's about more than just being a kind. When you get the right tribe, I can see it's loads of the lovely comments that I can see who they're from. These are people who are always, not always here, because I know you have got like jobs to do and stuff, but are regularly here, are regularly flag waving, are regularly supporting. And that's kind of what a tribe is. But everyone has their own tribe. It's not just like, oh, because you're a business you have a tribe. Everyone has their own group of people who should clap when they win, support them when they're having challenging times, and sort of rally around them. And that's what I think you really want from a brand ambassador. You want someone who, there's a quote, it's not Frozen this time, but have you seen Sherlock Holmes?
Yes.
It's the one with the fish hook. Is that Sherlock Holmes 2?
I'm not that experienced with the Sherlock Holmes. Are we talking the one with Robert Downey Jr. in?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't pay any attention to the words then.
Oh God, you're like Janine. You're like Janine. We were talking about 50 Shades of Grey. There was music. There's a really good plot. And they're like having this kind of chess match outside, and it's really cold, and he's got like a fish hook based injury. And Moriarty's being clever, and he's like, yeah, but you're not in the room. And Sherlock says something like, yeah, but basically Watson's in the room, and because Watson knows all about what's going on, he's like, yeah, but I'm still in play, I'm still in the room. And I always actually think about that with brand ambassadors, because you want it to be that when you are not in that room, yes, you are, your brand, your values, when required, are still being upheld. Yeah. And you've got someone in play in the room, not in a twisted, like they're working for you, etc., but someone who you know that you can chuck at any situation, yeah, and you are confident in what they're going to do, whether you are there or not. And that to me is a game changer.
And yeah, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the face of my business, whether I'm there or not. And it would just be awful if I ever heard that, oh, I saw such and such, but, you know, they said this, or they, you know, this happened. And I'd be like, oh my God, and they're associated with my brand. You know, it is a daily worry almost, isn't it?
Yeah. So Blackbird just bobbed along. It is, but I think that when you choose the right people, and also I know that you have quite a long kind of arc, for want of a better expression, but from someone contacting you, the arc it takes to actually you going, yeah, let's work together, is quite long. But because it's quite long, you actually get the chance to see how they are in the room with different brands, and that's quite interesting too. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, because at the end of the day, if you're a brand ambassador for a brand, especially if it's a brand that, you know, the person who runs it has built up, it is like their baby, it is their child, they're very protective over it. And I've always said, if your brand integrity, if who you are as a person is being compromised by anything, like, move away as quickly as you humanly possibly can, because it's not worth it.
I mean, Rhea always says that I don't do it in a I watch people, but I don't watch you
in a non-stalker way.
Non-stalker way. I will sit and watch people for exactly that reason, because everything about Equiboodle is that it is my own baby. I'm immensely proud of it and what it stands for, and the fact that people trust the brand, and as a result trust the products that we choose to hold in store as well. Everything about it is. So I'm not going to ever risk undoing it by potentially working with somebody that then doesn't reflect everything that my brand stands for. So when I say to like people, oh, you know, I am watching you, I am, but I'm just supporting you back, and I'm keeping an eye on how you're going and things like that, because I think anybody that does want to be an influencer or a brand ambassador or something, you know, wouldn't you rather know that the people that want to work with you for the right reasons? Because again, how weird would it be if I suddenly went, hey, I've just stumbled across your account, I love it, do you want to have some of my jumpers? Wouldn't you go, bit weird?
You need to be building that relationship. I think, as you say, you want to be following that person, engaging in their content, and actually getting that kind of foot in, you know, because you want people to get to know you. It would be like walking up to someone you never met at a party and going, have my things, and you just be like, what who know? But it can take quite a short amount of time to actually get to that point but you've got to put the work in. You know, you've got to do like, let me find out about you, what makes you tick, what you love, what you loathe, because then in that chat at the party, you can actually get to the point you want to get to much faster, because you've done the background.
I think we've definitely made our followers understand now you've got to put in the background work if you want to be taken seriously, and not just almost instantly just get the nice polite response and then we all carry on with our day. We want to see people sort of consistently, as often as they can, sort of turn up and contribute, don't we?
Are you going to take some other comments? There's some really good ones.
I was going to say, are we ready for a pause for me to read you some comments? Right.
Hydrate.
Okay. So People are saying that your podcast is awesome. That's amazing. So if you haven't gone over and listened to it yet, do that after this. Sarah says, I always say the people who do well are the ones not complaining, but the ones hustling their butts off. I mean, I don't have exactly that. Emily puts a lot of hard work and a good measure of bravery. I love that. That is so true. Sometimes I have my brave pants on and just go for it. And I'm also a firm believer in that there is no wrong decision. You've just got to make a decision. And if it wasn't the right decision, you make more decisions and more decisions and more decisions. So I'm totally with Emily on that. Alison's put, this may be my big kick up the bum today. Then yes, it is, Alison. That's what we're here for. Diane says, hi guys, hard work creates opportunities. Yes, it's not going to be given to you on a plate. There's been no luck in my success. Blood, sweat and tears. I mean, literally for Dr. Diane.
Other people's.
I mean, she can't get any more accurate than that.
Other people's bodily fluids as well have gone towards Diane's success. And fair play to you, Diane. That's not a job I'd want.
Even though your podcast was aimed at brands, I found it really insightful. And I think this is it. Anything that we're discussing today under the context of a brand ambassador, it actually can just go on to anything that you guys want to do, whether it is build your own business or career or be competitive in your riding, whatever it is, you got to put the foundations in. Your guide was fabulous. You can use it to see if you have what you should have before approaching. Emily's put, a real bugbear with me is being told that X will be great exposure, as though exposure vouchers is suddenly going to pay my mortgage.
I would love that. I think that maybe but photographers get that a lot as well, don't they? There'll be great exposure, and you're like, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be good because that person's got a much bigger following than you, or they're in a different area, and the exposure can hopefully raise your presence there. But I'm sure that Emily and the photographers as well, I know that they get approached by people with really small followings saying, oh, come and do a shoot with me, come and give me all your things, because it's really good exposure. And you're kind of like, how? Because that's going to cost me a lot of money to do, to post, to photograph. I've got to turn down paid work, etc., etc. So I think, exposure vouchers, they're not taken by any bank I know.
I can't accept them here, I'm afraid. My till doesn't accept them here. And also, my loyal supporters are what I would term as micro influencers. They've got a really good immersive audience of less than 10,000 followers. And if they put on a t-shirt that I've gifted them and say, I love it, those followers of theirs know they mean it. They know that I've only gifted it to them because they in turn have supported me, and everything about it is very genuine and lovely, and none of it ever feels like faked or just nothing other than authentic. And I think that's another thing, isn't it? We've discussed that previously, authenticity.
Yeah. And you've got to maintain that, because otherwise your audience, if you're an influencer going, oh, this is amazing, and it's absolute rubbish, they're never going to believe another word you say. And therefore all your hard work has been wasted because you've lied to them. Like if that ever happens and you are working with a brand and you hate something they've sent you, tell them. Just say, it's not for me, or I had this issue, but communicate with them. Don't put it on your social and say it's amazing if you hate it. Because we all have different tastes. We all have things we like and things we don't. And sometimes you do get faulty clothing, supplements, whatever, but communicate. Don't put something on that you're not happy with. It's just not worth it.
Emma's put, as someone who would love to be a brand ambassador at some point, for someone, the products and freebies are not what I'd be after. Although very generous, for me, it's to have that network behind you, cheering you on or picking you up is what I'm missing. That support network is so valuable.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. And Diane goes on to say, exactly, it's a two-way relationship. I've had a lot of approaches, but turned all down so far because either I don't use, I wouldn't use, or wouldn't want to ruin a different opportunity. It's not that cool to say I'm a brand ambassador.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. You know, obviously Diana is a doctor, but regardless of whether you're a doctor or whether you are not, it's still your reputation that's connected to the brand as well. So as much as the brand being wary or aware that they're giving you their baby to look after and their brand, you as the influencer needs to be comfortable with what you're saying to your audience. Otherwise you're inauthentic, and to be honest, you're therefore kind of irrelevant because you're not telling the truth. And like, I know social media gets so much stick for, you know, all the highly filtered this and the, you know, edited Photoshop that, but we can make the decision ourselves to be putting across what's true and correct and authentic. Whether other people do isn't our concern, but if you want to build yourself as an authentic, true, relatable, reliable brand, you need to make sure you are doing all those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Martha's just put, that's a job in itself. She's put social media is a job in itself for sure, but it's worth it. And it is for both brand and ambassador. It's hard work, but oh my God, is it rewarding? I mean, these are opportunities that are just fabulous to have, you know, the sort of reach that we can have. So yeah, it is absolutely worth it. But Nicola has put, now, this would be my idea of heaven. Some brands seem to have so many brand ambassadors, it feels like every third person on my feed.
But is that because they've been given loads of stuff for free, or because people are just kind of flag waving and being positive?
Yeah, because, yeah, I mean, I would love every third person on my feed to be waving the flag for Equiboodle. And when we do release a new product and things like that, it is truly heartwarming and amazing to see that. But obviously for some people, is it just a bit too much? Alison's put, I don't do enough shopping to be noticed to be a brand ambassador. Well, I mean, some of my brand ambassadors, obviously they support me, but it's not all about the fact that they're giving me their hard-earned pennies. It's the fact that they are promoting me genuinely on social media, and you know, I'm just saying, it's not just the fact that it's people buying my stock that makes them a brand ambassador.
Yeah, definitely.
Can they have too many, says Nicola, too many brand ambassadors? Yeah, of course.
I believe so. I think if you have too many, it can dilute your brand, and then your other people are thinking, well, why the hell am I paying full price? And that can actually do quite a lot of harm, in my opinion.
Martha's put, yes, photographers do, haha. I've had some amazing opportunities through this with the right people though. Yes. And that wasn't good luck, Martha. That was your amazingly hard work. Diane says, I'd say always go for it. Failure stops bitterness later on. If you try your best and you don't get what you wanted, you always end up in a different but better place for trying it all. The silver lining, guys. I hope I said that how I think she'd say that.
But it's true, isn't it? If you try things and it goes wrong, you've learned a lot from that experience that you can then, I feel like I'm like quoting films at you today, but you know, I like doing that. Chitty chitty bang bang, from the ashes of disaster grow the roses of success. But I was watching that last week, the children. I really like films, children's films, it seems. But it is true, you try, and if it does, and at least you know you tried. And then you can actually then move on from that idea and use what you've learned to refuel and go again.
Nicola's gone on to say, no, they're promoting codes for money off the brand. Okay, I can understand how that might get a little bit.
Yeah, I think I understand the thought behind it very well, but I think that if you have too many people in the same space, so there's too many crossovers, it can look a bit. I think you've got to be careful with your brand ambassadors. You want them to have different USPs, otherwise it can be quite kind of like, well, why am I paying full price, or why am I not getting a kickback? because I've got this size following and I'm in their space, etc., etc. So I think it can be a tricky one.
Surely, as a brand ambassador, you would want to do it to support a brand you genuinely love, not for your own gain. Well, I know, and I would love to be able to say that everybody that approaches me thinks like that, but unfortunately, so many people want to have that brand ambassador on their sort of info section, don't they, and things like that. You know, it is something that is that people do want, and they, you know, would love it. It is very flattering. It is, you know, always very flattering. Can an individual be a brand ambassador for too many different brands?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, you can, because also think about the time you want to put into each brand ambassador. Each brand ambassadorship. And most of the time, people want to put some effort in. And what you could find yourself doing is just running around worrying that you're not creating enough content all the time. And actually, that takes you away from what your account's about. I would really, if it were me, I would focus on a few, like a handful of brands that I loved and I would really love to work with, that would feature my content organically, that I wouldn't have to like go, oh Christ, I need to do a photo shoot about this because I never really use it, but I kind of got to do it. I think it can be a lot of maintenance, and I think you can also get potentially get crossovers, and that can be quite difficult as a brand ambassador. If you've got those crossovers, they can be quite challenging.
Yeah, for both your current brand that you're supporting and potentially the new one. So I guess the answer to that would always be communication is key. If you were approached or you wanted to approach a brand that was already quite similar to something else that you work with, then I think communication. You might find that the brands already work together in some weird and wonderful way, and actually wouldn't be a problem at all, especially, you know, if you're able to put up some brilliant pictures endorsing them both and giving them almost double the coverage. But I would suggest, as with anything, if there's anything you're ever not sure of, anything that gives you a question mark, communicate and ask the question, and don't put yourself in a pickle. Avoid that situation.
Exactly. And it's yeah, it is a tricky one. I think, as you say, communication is key. And I know that that with your ambassadors in the past, the fact that they do communicate with you means that you can talk through things, you can avoid issues, and also you can give them the go ahead to go, yes, absolutely fine, crack on, get after it, you know, you deserve it. And also it just stops any awkwardness, doesn't it? Because we don't want that with the people we're working with.
I'm all for avoiding awkwardness. Absolutely. We're all busy enough. We don't need to filter anything else like that into our lives for us to overthink and stress over. The very beautiful Ginny Joy, who joined Diane on her riders clinic. Oh, hi, Ginny. This is a great question. Are you ready, Rhea? Can you tell when someone is fishing to be a brand ambassador? I wouldn't want to have the responsibility of plugging someone's product, and I'm not that interesting, other than just being positive when I like something. But can you tell if people are showing interest purely for their own gain?
Yes, usually.
Yeah, you can spot them a mile off, can't you, Rhea?
Like a beacon on their head. And the thing, the key for me is usually the length of time that they're on they love you, because often, like a lot of small businesses, a lot of brands can't go if someone approached them, they were like, God, this person is mega. There is a process that you have to go through, that it takes time. It's usually the ones who are like over you from nowhere, like a rash, and then just go, just go. And you're like, oh, that was what that was about. What do you find?
Oh, I can read them a mile off, and literally, anybody that firstly, anybody that does it through social media. I mean, social media with direct messaging is great and it's fine and it's quick, but this is it. And anything to me that starts with "hey" is just like, I'm instantly just like, this person is just fishing for free stuff. Hey, I've just stumbled across your brand. Hey, I love your products. without going into any more description about what products of mine they actually love, it's that old thing again that Rhea and I have discussed in the past, and we will carry on discussing it until we are old and in our wheelchairs. It's the copy and paste. You can spot the copy and pasted message a mile off. You know, when there is absolutely no personalization, when somebody hasn't even bothered to find out who I am or who the right hasn't even put, could you please pass this on to the right person at Equiboodle? It's just the copy and pasted, hey, I'm looking for oh, it's that one as well. I'm looking for sponsorship.
Good for you. I'm looking for money at the end of a rainbow.
Yeah. Okay. You're looking to sponsor me, or you know, but
You've had those before, those where you didn't actually know whether they wanted to sponsor you or they wanted you to sponsor them, and then I don't think they were 100% sure.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? So
I was so confused by that.
We absolutely can tell when somebody wants. The easiest thing is it's always more memorable to see the genuine inquiries. That's the key to it. You know, the people that have taken the time. Martha has a brand ambassador that has a lot of sponsors, but I know she could handle it, and it's been the best choice I've ever made. It means she knows how to work with us and is my most dedicated brand ambassador. But I can see how it could not work. Emily has asked, what or is there a difference between a brand ambassador and a sponsor?
I'll tell you how I think they're different. So in the olden days, it used to be that if you were a sponsored rider, you would get kit. That was the thing. But now as the kind of brand ambassador role has developed more, usually a brand ambassador would get kit and a sponsor would often also receive money. Generally, that's how I split the two.
Yeah, and also I think it's very much open to interpretation between both parties nowadays, isn't it? Like something that I might offer a professional rider would be different to what I offer my micro influencers, and that's to benefit everybody, and also my level of expectation back in response. You know, the professional riders dedicate a team and time to maintaining their social media presences, whereas my micro influencers are doing it all themselves. So it's as much, the onus is on me as much as it is on the people that I want to work with. So you have to kind of take, I think nowadays you have to take everything into consideration. I don't know who's written this, it just says Facebook user, but they have put, if you are a brand ambassador and you put up a photo of you wearing another brand that perhaps is a similar product, would you still tag that brand even if you aren't promoting it in your content, or would you just not tag it at all?
I'm going to read that again. If you're a brand ambassador and you put a photo of you wearing another brand that perhaps is a similar product, would you still tag that brand even if you aren't promoting it in your content, or would you not tag? So if you're a brand ambassador and you're wearing a product that's a competitor's product, I wouldn't be tagging that with the brand. You're not going to have a good time from that. Have I missed the point?
No, and I do get tagged an awful lot on Instagram, which is, again, I love the tags. I love seeing stuff, but unfortunately, yeah, they're not. The thing that might be Equiboodle isn't actually massively visible in the picture. You know, I might be able to deduce that they're in a pair of my tights, or there's a jumper underneath there somewhere, but actually, and then I feel kind of bad for the brand that they're perhaps, because, you know, I'm not ever suggesting that people only ever wear Equiboodle stuff ever again. And also, as you know, I work with amazing brands here in Equiboodle, with Honest Riders, App Cavalier, Georgian Dollar. You know, I'm hugely supportive of other businesses. So yeah, sometimes people might tag Equiboodle and they might be in a pair of Georgian Dollar breeches. Well, I'm going to give that all the love. I think each post is open to interpretation, I guess, isn't it?
But then if they were an Equiboodle brand ambassador and they were wearing a T-shirt from another brand,
that old AB saddlery again.
Yeah, I feel like there probably is a saddlery called AB saddlery. I was going to go ABC saddlery, but anyway, I just couldn't think of anything. Then that's a tricky one. I wouldn't be tagging that with Equiboodle if Equiboodle isn't in the picture. I mean, that I wouldn't do that.
I would rather people don't. Do any of them say, hey, I notice you have Lawrence in your shop, could you lend him to me? They wouldn't dare, Nicola. They wouldn't dare. Oh my God, I say all the time at the beginning of messages. Oh, soz. But when you've had a gazillion haze a day in your DMs, honestly, sorry.
I can see Sarah's comment. I can't help but gush though. Vic produces such beautiful clothes. They deserve gushing 100%. But the thing is, Sarah, is that you have been consistently talking about them. You know, it's not like you kind of had a big, a big sort of, oh, I just love them so much. Oh, also, I would really like to be a brand ambassador, like now, and then nothing. That's the thing. That's the kind of beacon. It's brilliant when people love the products, and I love Equiboodle stuff. We're twins today. I'm kind of excited that I reckon someone else is probably wearing this as well, in the background. But it's a kind of like, oh, I really want to be your friend. I really want to be your friend. Oh, okay, you don't want to be my best friend. All right, screw you, then I'm going somewhere else. And it's like, well, actually, there's a long way between those two things. Like, my best friends, I've known for ages. So it's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's another thing as well, is that it's great, and I love meeting new people and their enthusiasm. It's brilliant, and I love it. But yes, yes. Let's move on. But thank you, Sarah. And Martha's put, love the term micro-influencer. I think that is actually the term, isn't it? If you've got
the thing.
I know what I'm talking about.
You're on it, like you're on it today. She
taught me. Every time you say AB Sudbury, I think you're mentioning Ashbury Farrier, and I'm thinking Ash Bodie. So don't worry, we're all. Diane, agree, but you're clearly in the tribe. So yes, and exactly what Rhea is saying now, and it's Rhea summarised that beautifully. So I hope that might have been of help to some of our followers, and even if it does just give you a pointer about the brand, if you are really keen to work with brands, we openly encourage it. Brands are always looking for amazing creative people to work with, but we can also see when our requests are genuine and authentic, and we will recognize people if they've been people that sort of regularly turn up as well. And I don't think I'll ever be able to emphasize that enough.
No, I really.
High five. Does that work?
There we go. Perfect. We've aced that. Absolutely aced that. If we do nothing else today, we've achieved.
A virtual high five. Right. Have we got any more questions from any of you lovely lot before we carry on with our days and I go and open up the shop? Speak now, isn't it, Rhea? Speak now or hold your peace for a few days.
Well, the phrase is forever, but for at least 24 hours, hold your peace.
Or message us or comment on this afterwards. I will just say, just while we are waiting for any more questions to come in, I am going on holiday on Friday.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this.
Why not? I'm not even going to leave the house. I'm just going to sit on a slipway with my feet dangling in the sea for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I'm good with this, because like what's going on with Equiboodle?
So B and Ginny are back as of Friday. So they've both literally had some refreshers of how the shop works, because it's completely understandable to forget how things like the till works. So shops open 2 till 5. Website orders will continue to be received, but will probably only be dispatched once or twice a week, because obviously it's not me doing them. So that might be the only thing, is that the website orders won't be going out daily like they do when I'm here. But that's just, again, because the poor girls have come back off furlough, and it's all going to be a bit of a shock to the system. But probably more importantly is I'm not going to be doing my daily lives. I'm actually going to have a proper break.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
I mean, I could probably bob on and do one with you if you, again, don't mind me sat with my feet dangling in the sea.
No, but I am taking the mick. I think when we talk about hard work, what I think about recently is the work you put in during lockdown with everything. I'm doing a live every day is really hard work. I do a few lives a week in different groups, and I'm like broken after a live. I need a little rest. But that is hard work. The fact that you were pushing out the orders every day, you were working really hard. You need a rest from that.
Do you know what? I genuinely do, and I'm going to thank Olivia Towers as well, because she's had a week's break, hasn't she, from social media? And this is a girl that everybody loves on social media, and I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. So I will be scheduling, I will be planning and preparing all the social media posts. The shop will still be open 2 till 5. The only thing that won't be there is me. Ooh, I'm going to be on holiday. Right, Emma wants to. Oh, hang on. No. Emily says, I always think true friends want to pay properly for products. Yes, absolutely, Emily. Emma wants to know any date for the next podcast at Equiboodle. Well, it's basically as soon as we're allowed, which we're of course still not.
As soon as we're allowed and it's safe to do so and everything else, then we'll just do it, because I don't need much prep. I just need to get in the car and bring my stuff. So we just need to make sure it's safe to do it, because what we want is people to come and have a lovely time and not be worried about everything. I know at the moment it is a worry. I've got no desire to go into, I know you lot, but when people are like, oh, they're off out to do this, and this, and I'm like, really? And that's not a criticism of them. That's just because of the situation, isn't it? But as soon as we can, we're there.
I love how Emma couldn't remember what the boat's called, and now about a gazillion people are now just screaming out morning glory.
Who wouldn't remember the name of that boat? I remember the name of that boat.
Oh dear. It will be there by Friday. It will be there. I'll have a very happy husband. I won't see him for 2 weeks. Apart from do you want fish and chips? And I'll be like, yeah, and then he'll toddle off in the boat. So, I'll be basically by myself for 2 weeks. But no, I'm very much looking forward to it. But I too am really looking forward to the next podcast live, because thanks to lockdown and all of this that Rhea and I have been doing, our audience has gone next level. The people that are going to come to this, you might actually have to have a mobile microphone, Rhea, because you might actually have to walk through the audience going, and Emma, tell us about the time, and Martha, because everybody's going to want to be involved.
I can probably make that happen, actually. I'm not dragging my microphone around the shop because it's connected to the computer, and then I just need to carry everything. But I'm sure I can make that. We can make it work. We make things work. It's just a thing.
Oh my God, everybody would love that. Everybody would love that. And we'll get Emily here, and we'll get Lawrence here, and we'll get Emily and Lawrence in aprons. It's just going to be the stuff of dreams, isn't it?
It's going to be the best day ever.
Well, that was, as ever, amazing. Thank you, Rhea. Thank you for always giving us your wonderful, wonderful insights. Because I really do feel like even if one person takes one thing from this, and that then leads to them getting something that they truly want, we've done an amazing thing. And that wouldn't have been as a result of good luck for that person. It'll have been as a result of them tuning in for this, taking your advice and going and putting it into practice. Small seeds.
Absolutely. The thing is, I know a lot of the people who are watching. I don't know who Facebook user is, because it hates me today, clearly. But I know a lot of the people watching, and everyone has got their own USPs, their unique selling points, their unique points of difference, or however you want to word it, and they're amazing. It's just we need to be better at kind of tapping into that, selling ourselves. It is tricky, but so a lot of people have got so much to offer. It's just a case of trying to make sure that everybody wins from these collaborations, because when one party doesn't, it's not a collaboration. It's a kind of, it's just a, how do I word that?
Thing.
Yeah, it's just a bit rubbish, and then one person feels a bit cross, and yeah, so you don't want it.
Okay, I wasn't going to mention it, but Emily's just jousted me into action. Rhea, have you got any wins you want to share with us? And you can't dilly-dally because you've got 1 minute left. Tell us your amazingness, please. Because again, your audience, they probably don't appreciate how lucky we are to have you. And we are to have you. Just to...
Well, if you're at all into social media and you're a geek like myself, there's like the kind of Bible of it all, without wishing to annoy anyone that's religious, I couldn't think of a better word, is Social Media Examiner, which is an insane website. They have live events. Anyway, I had my first piece published on there today. But look at it, because there's a lot of Equiboodle screenshots in it.
I literally opened the link, squealed at delight, and then went back to congratulating you. So I'm very much looking forward to going into it in more depth. So, oh, I think it's Jem that's coming up as Facebook user. Oh, Jem. Good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For me. It's hopefully the people's names will keep coming up.
Well,
Right.
Thank you lot. You're lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Rhea. Honestly, you are an example of how you put the hard work in, and it's reflected in your amazingness.
I was blooming worried about that feature. It's 2,000 words. It's brute, but it's good, I think.
I know she was as well, because we've been giving her some support in the behind the scenes, haven't we? And it's a wonderful day. I hope everybody else has a wonderful day too. Always feel free to share your successes, and always remember you can use the hashtag Equiboodle made me do it, and we will head on over, won't we, Rhea, and give you some support. Because Rhea helps me with that hashtag too, so you get the two of us.
Double whammy. I'll keep an eye on that. Keep putting your stuff out.
Right, guys, lots of love. And see you tomorrow. I've got Maeve back with me from Activate Your Seat. I'm so excited.
The dream. Excellent. Take care. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your lovely words. Thank you.